Hey everyone, guess who we got back? And he's going to answer some of your history questions that have been burning in your heart and mind.
There you go. Okay, if you don't know me, I'm Steve Jones. I'm head of the history department at Southwestern. And he's right, the internet has all of these questions and they think I know something about it. I'll try. By the way, I have not looked at these questions. All right, there's not a ringer in the bunch. Is Christmas really the day Jesus was born? How about no? All right, I think it's co-opted. I think he's born in the spring, but that's for like the religious professors. Is it illegal to eat mince pies on Christmas? Probably not, but as I look down this list, here's another thing that I think they go together. When was Christmas canceled? There's two answers to this. The Puritans, like the last time I was here, I talked about Puritans. Okay, so this is not a theme, but the Puritans, like in the English Civil War, they kind of did away with celebrating Christmas because they thought it was so full of debauchery and, you know, ways for people to go astray. They tried to get rid of it. If you were like making Christmas goodies, which I suppose a mince pie could be, well, or it is, you might find yourself arrested. When was Christmas canceled? Aha! 1964, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. A huge blizzard comes through and Santa just almost can't fly because he can't see through the horrible fog until he looks at Rudolph and he goes, that nose, that wonderful nose. And he hooks Rudolph up to the sleigh and he cuts through it like, you know, like a fog cutter, and off they go. So Christmas wasn't really canceled, it was almost canceled. Okay. Where did Santa Claus come from? It comes from the North Pole. Everybody knows that. Did Christmas really stop a war? There is this thing, which I think this probably refers to, is the Christmas truce in World War I in 1914. At Christmas time, back up on the British end, both sides, the Germans and the British, just kind of stop. Now, some versions of this will have somebody on the German side singing Silent Night. This may have happened, it may not have, I'm not sure, but the two sides stop. They kind of lay down their arms and they get up out of the trenches and they come out into what is essentially no man's land in between the trenches, and they talk to each other and they share cigarettes and they share food. They get into an impromptu soccer game and they have a lot of fun for a few hours at least. In 1914, it paused the war. There's what I'm looking for. It paused the war. It didn't stop it, it paused it. Where did the Grinch come from? Because you know that the Grinch tries to steal Christmas, but he doesn't get it done. But when did the Grinch arrive? I know this, it's 1957. The author of that, of course, is Dr. Seuss, whose real name is Theodore Geisel. He had been a cartoonist during World War II, cartoonist for an army magazine called Stars and Stripes. He gets out of the war, he does some other things, but then he starts his Dr. Seuss characters, you know, the Cat in the Hat and the Who's and Horton, who hears a who, right? And came up with the Grinch in 1957. I would like to say that most people know the book, but most people probably know the animated TV special from 1966. Some of you might know the Grinch better from the Ron Howard movie, which came out in 2000, and Jim Carrey played the Grinch. Well, what is a Yule log? Okay, there's two answers for this. Are you familiar with Odin? Okay, like the big king of the Vikings or the Norse or whatever. And Thor is like his son. One of Odin's other names is Mjolnir. Okay, if you can't say Mjolnir, you might shorten it to Yule, and some do, and then that kind of just turns into Yule, some reference back to Odin. So many Christmas traditions pick up from Germanic or Norse traditions, and one of them is burning this log, like at the winter solstice, and people call that the Yule log. You can go to like bakeries or cake shops and buy a Yule log, and it's like, oh come on, you know, like a Swiss cake roll. It's rolled up and it's got a cream in the middle, but it looks like a log, okay? And you can eat that. Here's one. Where did the Christmas tree come from? It's Germanic or Norse. You know, it's another one of those things that we borrow from other cultures and put into Christmas. Does the U.S. military really track Santa? As a matter of fact, yes, they do. You familiar with the Sears stores, the old Sears stores? Do they exist anymore? But the Sears store in Colorado Springs put an ad in a newspaper that said, hey kids, you can call this number and find out where Santa Claus is at any given point, all right, on Christmas Eve. But they put the wrong number in the newspaper ad and actually put down the number for something that was called CONAD, Continental Air Defense. That's the precursor to NORAD, which is North American Air Defense. And I mean, that's a Cold War thing, and we tracked old Soviet bombers and all that. But CONAD got these calls from little kids and saying, oh, where is Santa? Do you know where Santa is? Santa flying over my house? And the commander on shift, he just kind of rolled with it. NORAD still does it. Okay, it's just become a tradition. On Christmas Eve, they'll start to track Santa, and they'll tell you, you know, hour by hour where he is and what you can expect. So, does the military really track Santa? Yes, they do. I mean, that's a pretty good list, and I think that I have done what I can do with it. So, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to wish you Merry Christmas and remind you, you don't have to know everything, but you should know something. See ya.